Good morning. Welcome to Business Equity and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. Thursday, March 20th, is the first official day of spring. First day that the daylight hours outnumber the nighttime ones, and warmer weather settles in more consistently. For some local businesses, that may open up new potential successes. Each week, we spring to the task of providing you, the entrepreneurs and business owners, information to help start, grow, and navigate your own road through the changing business climate. Our core segments are packed with useful and timely information, getting started, accessing capital, the week in business, accounting and bookkeeping issues, how to run your business day to day. We focus on an industry and end with a weekly success story. Each category has conversations with experts, business owners, entrepreneurs who share insights and personal stories to help you on your path to business success. You'll see a QR code pop up throughout the course of the hour. It'll take you directly to our website where you'll find extra information and all of our current and past segments. While you're there, we encourage you to subscribe to our weekly newsletter. It comes free every Tuesday. Here's what's coming up this hour on Business Equity and Opportunities. Welcome again to Business Equity and Opportunities. Business leaders and investors are frequent visitors to our community, often tied to sporting events, conferences, expos. During last season's All-Star event, we had a chance to talk with Seth Thompson, the Senior National Director of Diverse and Multicultural Wealth for Bernstein Private Wealth Management.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Access to capital.
My name is Seth Thompson. I am Senior Vice President and Head of Diverse and Multicultural Wealth Segments at Bernstein Private Wealth Management. I have the opportunity of being here in Indianapolis just to be part of the ecosystem and environment around really supporting, Black and brown business owners and startups. Really trying to bring whatever education and knowledge I have to help address the gaps that might exist for people along their journey. From what I see as someone who's not from Indiana is the events like this are the right things, right? I think having a diverse room of individuals, of people who may be in need of the advice, but definitely being in a room of people who have the advice and sometimes don't know how and where to give it, I think you're on the right track, right? I think the best thing that happens in cities all around the country is just to make sure that there's a spirit of intentionality, right? Where everyone is in a room, be very intentional about the needs, the asks, the opportunities, and the successes, and making sure that there's a takeaway, right? I always talk about not everyone has the same amount to give, but everyone has something to give. And whatever it is that you can give will be very beneficial to building the right ecosystem in places like Indianapolis. There's a level of vulnerability that needs to be there. Not everyone's gonna have the right answer. Typically in my world of like the wealth management space, the intel tends to stay within the family, right? But if you are a first generation wealth creator, if you're in this position for the first time, you don't have this kind of trickle down experience that's gonna help inform. So I think a level of transparency and vulnerability goes a long way. And if everyone acts in the same way, right, then we're able to kind of open up the aperture and really address those things. But historically, when I think about financial services in general, and look, opportunity and success and money and creation and wealth, it looks different now, right? So we just really have to open that up, be very vulnerable, and extend ourselves the best way possible. I often think that there's a hierarchy that exists everywhere, right? There's an expectation of what senior people may have that is a disconnect between what people experience who may not be at those levels, right? The gap really is delegation, right? So if you think about it, there are always people who are put in place to close the gap, but we have to make sure those folks who are intended to close the gap have the information and resources and the want to do it. So folks who are in that position and don't want to be in that position, don't be in that position, right? We need to find the delegators, the delegates, those who are intended to close the gap, to make sure they feel confident that they can act to close the gap between what people expect and what people experience. I get to marry something I'm passionate about with my profession, right? The fact that I could be here in Indianapolis with a great organization that's close to our family, the Sagamore Institute, and extend myself in a very meaningful way, I think is like the best part, right? I don't know if people always have the opportunity to marry their passion and profession, but I certainly do.
Seth Thompson is an example of the business talent that the Indy Biz Pass brings to the city throughout the year. If you want more information about the Indy Biz Pass ecosystem news, follow our QR code to our newsletter where you'll find a direct link. Still more to come this Sunday. Up next, the latest news on this year's Rally Innovation Conference. That's ahead on Business Equity and Opportunity.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Time to talk about the weekend business. The Rally Innovation Conference's $5 million pitch competition applications are now live after this month's official launch party. We caught up with Christopher Day, CEO of Elevate Ventures and the driving force behind Rally, to get the details.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. This Week in Business.
So we have Race to Rally. The official launch of Rally tickets is today, and we are so excited to do this final sprint. September 24th and 25th Rally. We like to say it's where innovation convenes, and after the first 2 years, we're looking to increase ticket sales even probably by another 30% this year. Between year 1 and year 2, we grew 32.2% to be exact. Yeah, so I have to give a shout out to Sports Corp. The reason Indianapolis is the best place to host an event in the country is because Sports Corp has perfected the host committee. And so Mike Carnuto actually reached out with the Sports Corp and said, hey, it is time for Rally to launch a host committee. And so this is our first year doing it. We have over 70 people. We have 3 co-chairs, and then we set up committees for media, for community, for investments, for the pitch competition, and so on. And so we're super excited. They're all here tonight, and we're gonna have an awesome time with the ticket sales launch. We run one of the largest pitch competitions in the world, right? So it's a $5 million pitch competition across 5 studios. So software, life science, hard tech, ag and food, and sports tech. In year 1, 5 of those winners, 4 of them have relocated or doing all their expansion in Indiana, and we think all 5 of the winners last year are gonna expand to Indiana. So basically go to rallyinnovation.com, and they'll see where to submit for the pitch application. It's open now, and it'll be open I think until early May, but all the information's on there. And anybody from across the globe can apply for this pitch competition, and then we go through a whole process where we vet those down to finalists and alternates. And then they go through a whole series of coaching and mentoring all the way up until Rally. And then they take the big stage and give their pitches, and we have a panel of judges. We'll have about 6 judges for every studio, and then we crown the winners. What's so exciting is all of those, even the ones that didn't win but who participated in the pitch competition, or even those who applied for the Rally pitch competition, we see them all coming back in year 2, and we have a lot of outreach for year 3 to come back and be in the demo arena, for example. It's a great way to showcase your innovation. We've had 297 VCs from across the globe come to Rally, representing over $27.6 billion in AUM. So many stories about people finding their lead, Series A investor, and much, much more. If we look across Rally, we like to say where innovation convenes, right? And it takes a village. And so the magic of Rally, I think, is cross-sector married with disparate stakeholders. That's where the magic happens. And so anymore, like with AI, sector lines are blurring. And so are you starting a software company or a hard tech company, a healthcare company, a sports tech company? Many times you have all that in one. And then it's not just the investor and the entrepreneur that make innovation happen, right? It's our policymakers, our education leaders, our philanthropists, our foundation leaders, our economic development leaders. And when you get all those people in one place at one time, magic happens. The thing that gets me the most excited right now is we see the community, and I just got chills, Peggy, but we see the community really coming together and realizing that we can't think the way we used to, right? In our own little cocoon, this is mine, I have to control everything. We have to get vulnerable. Like, so this year's theme is creative curiosity. And so we can't just believe everything that we see out there, right? Year one was about creative collisions, like getting the energy going. Then last year was about creative convergence. So this really intentional desire to meet people outside of my sector, outside of my group of stakeholders. And now this year is about creative curiosity. And so coming with an open mind and what might happen.
We are excited to again be a media partner for this year's rally. Follow the QR code on your screen for more information about how you can venture beyond the expected at Rally's 2025 Global Cross-Sector Innovation Conference. When we come back, Jane King's report from Wall Street. Find out how the new tariffs are already impacting Indiana businesses as business equity and opportunities continues.
This Week in Business is made possible by IndyBiz Pass. This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. The stakes are high in the global marketplace right now, as you've likely seen in the news. Changes in both the international and national business landscapes can have an effect on your bottom line. So Jane King brings us her report on what's happening on Wall Street with Indiana companies.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Accounting and Bookkeeping.
Tariffs are already having an impact on Indiana business. Honda is reportedly exploring moving manufacturing of the next generation Civic to Indiana instead of Mexico after President Trump's tariffs were placed. The company previously produced its best-selling models in Mexico due to lower labor costs. Honda has refused to confirm the report, telling Indianapolis Star Honda has made no such announcement and will not comment on this report. If true, it would not take effect until 2028. Meanwhile, Indiana farmers could be impacted because China is a top buyer of U.S.-grown soybeans. Mexico is also a key trade partner for U.S. agricultural products. In response to tariff tensions, the Indiana Corn Growers Association and the Indiana Soybean Alliance called on the state's congressional delegation to address the issue. While the tariffs have been sending stocks on a wild ride over the past few weeks, the market is in the red during Trump's presidency, in part because of the uncertainty of the trade policy. The Nasdaq has fallen more than 7% since Trump took office, and the S&P is down more than 4%. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the tariffs are necessary as the U.S. is a victim of unfair trade, and the markets will be volatile while these trade policies are unwound. While the Kelley School of Business at Indiana University has a new dean, Patrick Hopkins, a member of the Kelley faculty since 1995 and the current vice dean, will assume the position March 17th. Hopkins will work directly with the IU Indianapolis Chancellor, Latha Ramchan, on top of working on the Bloomington campus. Hopkins has identified growing enrollment at IU Indianapolis Kelley School, incorporating generative AI into curriculum, and increasing the value proposition of a college degree as key priorities of his tenure. And Purdue University Indianapolis has made several announcements that the school hopes will help increase the university's footprint in the Circle City. David Umullis, the Senior Vice Provost for Purdue Indianapolis, says the university has new programs in actuarial sciences, integrated business and engineering, the Cornerstone Liberal Arts Program, which is an integrated liberal arts program, entrepreneurship, and also several new master's degree programs. And he says that they're working on new programs, radio, pharmaceuticals, sports engineering, and they're excited about motorsports engineering coming online as a master's program as well. Well, Cummins announced an update to the legendary B-Series engine platform, unveiling the new Cummins B7.2 diesel engine at NTEA Work Truck Week in Indianapolis. The company says the new engine will feature a slightly higher displacement, increasing to 7.2 liters, and it's designed to be a global platform, which allows customers to ensure their vehicles are ready for what's to come without sacrificing performance or durability. A higher displacement also allows for a wider range of torque offerings, creating flexibility for different applications and duty cycles. Two companies that participated last year in the first Butler University Accelerator for Workforce and Education powered by Generator Class are planning to expand in Indianapolis and add a total of up to 44 new jobs. The companies are Sweden-based Imagilabs and Minnesota-based Awesome People Leaders, both female-founded enterprises. Imagilab's coding platform can be used by students and teachers and is designed to ignite the interest of preteens and teens through fun, programmable devices and mobile apps that teach Python. Awesome People Leaders focuses on training frontline and middle managers in foundational leadership skills. Well, the Department of Veterans Affairs will begin mass layoffs at the politically sensitive agency as early as June. According to Reuters, veterans groups, Democrats, and some Republicans have voiced concern over the planned reductions at the department, which is seeking to cut more than 80,000 workers. The scale of the layoffs at the VA is greater than proposed cuts at other agencies and will hit a department that looks after a group that typically garners wide bipartisan support, military veterans. And finally, President Trump has vowed to make the U.S. the world leader in cryptocurrency. Since he took office, Trump has orchestrated a complete transformation of federal policy on crypto. The SEC has almost entirely reversed an aggressive campaign by the Biden administration to crack down on the industry. The agency has issued legal guidance to help crypto companies, ended investigations into major firms, and dropped lawsuits against two of the largest exchanges, Coinbase and Kraken. But some things are still unclear. Where will the money come from for a U.S. Bitcoin strategic reserve? Will it be made up of Bitcoin that the U.S. has seized? And who will manage it? Well, some believe Bitcoin could transform global money. Others are still skeptical. From the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Jane King.
Taxes and retirement, what you may not know. That's coming up next on Business Equity and Opportunities.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Cody Adams, the host of Lifestyle Live and All Indiana, recently sat down with Ed Wright from Golden Reserve to get some information, important information about taxes and retirement.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Running your business day to day.
In the world of retirement planning, one of the most overlooked expenses is taxes. Joining me now is Ed Wright, a partner at Golden Reserve, an Indianapolis area financial retirement planning firm. Thanks for being here, Ed. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with this. With taxes, what are some of those tax mistakes that retirees are making right now?
Yeah, the biggest mistake we see folks making is just not having a plan, a proactive plan on how am I going to address taxes in retirement, which means a lot of folks default to what Uncle Sam wants us to do, which can't be good.
Yeah, good point. In terms of penalties, what should retirees be aware of?
Yeah, there are a couple of penalties written into the tax code if you follow what Uncle Sam wants you to do. Again, he's handcuffed us into these IRAs, 401ks, all of these accounts that we owe tax on until we're 59 and a half. But we don't have to start taking money out till we hit 73 or 75. And if you follow Uncle Sam's plan, somebody's going to pass away. If you're married, there's going to be a spouse that passes away, and now you've got the same amount of money you did the year before. You've got the same taxes, but now instead of being in that married bracket, you're in that single bracket. You can get hit with twice as much in taxes as a surviving spouse. Ultimately, the money goes to the kids, and Uncle Sam knows he can get 3 times as much from them, and that's why we call that our kiddos penalty.
Wow. It feels like these are things that we should just know about, and I had no clue until you mentioned it. Why aren't advisors making this more well known?
Yeah, so financial advisor, a lot of times you talk taxes, immediately we're thinking last year. Let's get our taxes done. Where's my W-2s? Where are my 1099s? Get the taxes done. You get that done, you take a breath and sigh of relief, but it's like you need to be thinking forward.
Yeah.
And a lot of advisors are handing you a business card to somebody who's doing last year's taxes. And also, an advisor usually gets paid based on how much money you have with them. So if they recommend that you take money out of these accounts and pay tax on it, they're actually recommending a pay cut for themselves. So it doesn't surprise me that a lot of times this advice gets missed.
Yeah, interesting how that works, right? How can your tax map simplify all of this for people?
Yeah, so for folks that want one, we will build what is called a roadmap for retirement. And one of the very first things that we're going to put in there is our tax map. This tax map, we're going to work with our team of internal CPAs. They're going to calculate what a person could pay if they followed what Uncle Sam wanted them to do, and what a proactive approach would look like, and how much money they could save by having their plan, not Uncle Sam's plan.
And that proactive plan could make a world's difference, right?
Absolutely. We just had a client come in recently. They had about $1 million in 401k money that they had rolled into an IRA. And if they followed Uncle Sam's plan, our CPAs calculated they could very easily pay close to $350,000 of that million could go to Uncle Sam. But with a proactive approach, we're going to be able to save them at least $175,000 in taxes by them having their plan, not Uncle Sam's.
That is wild.
Yeah.
You mentioned that roadmap for retirement. When it comes to that, how can this help in terms of that big picture retirement planning?
Right, so many folks have no idea what they're looking at in retirement. They have no plan for how they're going to handle all of these risks. And taxes is just one part of that, right? You've got the market can be volatile and take money away from you. You've got fees that advisors are charging. And then at the end of retirement, you've got long-term care costs that can sneak up. So our roadmap for retirement is going to look at every one of those big risks in retirement and build a plan around how you protect yourself.
Lots of good information. And for you at home, if you want to learn more about minimizing taxes and maximizing your retirement, Ed has a great offer for you. Right now, for the first 5 callers with a portfolio of $500,000 or greater, he's offering a complimentary roadmap for retirement. This is going to allow Ed's team of retirement planners to create your tax map, fee filter, long-term care compass, market flashlight, and income tent. And they'll do all this work for no charge or obligation. It's that important. Call 463-777-773. Again, that's 463-777-773. Ed, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tamise Cross, and I'm the co-founder and executive director of P30, which is a co-working space that operates as an entrepreneur incubator and a community resource hub for the Far East Side of Indianapolis. October of 2020, we got together with community leaders and community residents. We knew that Volumod is a modular home factory that was going to develop in the back of this building. The owners of this building knew that they had 240,000 square feet for that, but left over was 30,000 square feet. And I was called to, as a consultant, to help build out the space. Initially, it was going to be a maker space. But after talking to the community leaders and community residents, we knew that we needed something that was going to stimulate economic development for the Far East Side of Indianapolis. And so the co-working space was more ideal. And being that it's an underserved community, we knew that we was going to need to provide a little bit more programming and resources and support for our community residents to tap into entrepreneurship and focus on social entrepreneurship, which can provide social impact for our community. And given the narrative of the Far East Side, we knew that we wanted to tell a better story, like the Indy Far East Side magazine, or, do what we can in order to uplift our community. I'm also a community resident. I live a couple blocks away, so I wanted to be the change that I wanted to see in my community, and so I decided to say yes and just take lead in that. When we want to see great change in our community, we can't do it alone. We're better together. So the idea is to incorporate as many vocal people that can support you, represent you, and even advocate for some of the changes that you want to bring into the space or into the community, essentially. And together, you learn their heart. You make sure you're not duplicating or stepping on any toes, so to speak, not wanting to create competition, but you want to continue to advocate and just be a conduit for collaboration. What comes from the heart reaches the heart. So as long as we continue to be transparent, open, and vulnerable about our why, it's going to connect to another person's why. And essentially people will be able to say, hey, that's my same dream. And you invite them and say, well, let's dream together and build this out together. So that's not something that was just created from my heart, but it connects with yours. And so together, just telling people that this belongs to you like it belongs to me, because what we're experiencing in our community, if we can grieve together about the community violence, then we can also connect with one another and create more opportunities to eliminate that. So that's where the passion comes from. Any business that wants to contribute to the change that we want to implement within our community. So we hadn't created any barriers for any business. A realtor business, marketing businesses, any business essentially is just when we invite them to come and be a member here, we ask them to help contribute with a social impact plan that'll help uplift the Far East Side. So any business, as long as you desire to give back. It's very important just to continue to display yourself doing some type of philanthropic work. It affects us individually, if it affects us as a city. So if we want to uplift our city, it's important for us to develop a plan that's going to help with quality of life. Just like any other organization, think about a quality of life initiative that is similar to a social impact plan. If I want to help uplift the lives of those that I want to be a consumer, or I want to support the business that I'm developing, then I want to give back to them, because if I give to you, you'll give back to me. And it continues to reciprocate, and we're able to continue to see this village that has been lost. You know, the term of supporting a village is lost now. Everyone is so individualistic and operating separately. We just want to continue to build some type of momentum, like, hey, we're in this together. And let's create unity. Let's create togetherness. We do have another location. We powered up another location called Energy Impact, and it's in Anderson, Indiana. And so they desire to do the same thing out there within that community as well. We're open and just wanting to communicate that it's power and connection. And if we continue to connect to one person, there's great impact even with that. It's a lived out mission that I've began to learn that I have been equipped for through the years. Just coming from an unfortunate background myself, I know that when you see a need, you should feel the need. That's what I've been able to learn through the years. And so I've just been encouraging the same thing.
Coming up, we visit Crate Escapes Dog Park and Bar to see how this new family-owned business in Westfield is creating an experience for pets and their owners. That's next on Business Equity and Opportunity. Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. Time to focus on a novel industry. Crate Escapes is a new family-friendly dog park and bar that's already expanding its services for pet lovers.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Industry Focus.
I'm Megan Schaefer. I'm the owner and CEO of Crate Escapes Dog Park and Bar, which is in Westfield, right across the street from Graham Park. So it's me and my sister, and then also her husband, Aaron. We got it started together and came up with the idea and started brainstorming and brought us here today. We are traditionally just called a dog bar, but essentially it's an off-leash dog park. We're indoors and outdoors. We have a bar, obviously, the bar component. Right now we have beer and wine on a self-pour tap wall. And then we're a very event-focused community and also membership-based. You don't have to be a member, but you can be a member. But off-leash, dogs are able to run and roam. People can grab a drink. We have a restaurant opening soon, so pretty soon they're gonna be able to grab a bite to eat. But we do a lot of breed meetups, live music, trivia nights, all kinds of different events that people can gather and bring their dogs and have a great time. We just knew we wanted a dog business of some kind, and we were toying with the idea of doing a really homey, like doggy daycare, and looking at a lot of like farmlands where we could convert farms or barns or something like that and make it a little bit different than your ordinary daycare facility. And then my background's with weddings, and I love events and I love planning and I love having friends together. So when we were looking at the property, we also wanted to have a dog park on it. And then I started to think, oh, well, that'd be so much fun if like weekends we could have food trucks and we could have live music and people could come and hang out and have a good time. And so we started adding that to the business plan. And then as we were adding that, we were like, you know, this would kind of be fun to just do that every day, to not just make it a weekend thing. And then ended up finding out that that concept exists all around the United States, and it's really popular. And so then we kind of shifted. We still kept the daycare and drop-off component, but focused more on the park and the bar and the community aspect and events, and kind of grew from there. We knew we wanted Westfield. We're Westfield residents, and between me and my sister, we have 7 kids, so we knew that we wanted to stay. So we're close and convenient, and obviously we know we love this community. We know how fast it's growing, so Grand Park made perfect sense. Finding the spot in Grand Park was hard. We had a lot of land that we put offers on and were declined, or had offers on and things changed and they were like, I don't know if I really want dogs in my backyard kind of thing. And then it was tricky too, just because we didn't want to be next to like fast food restaurants, but we didn't want to be so far out in the middle of nowhere that nobody was going to be able to reach us, but we also couldn't be in, where a housing development was either. So we are lucky that we live in Westfield really and have Grand Park, because it really is the perfect fit with how things operate around here and giving people a place to come with their dogs. We love dogs. My background, I was a dog trainer and a vet tech, and I worked for the zoo, and when I got into the wedding industry, it was something I did temporarily, hoping it would be temporary, and so I knew I wanted to be with animals, and my sister and brother-in-law, they knew they loved dogs and animals, so it's nice that it's a successful industry, but it's also, for us, we also want to enjoy our jobs and love our jobs and create a space that we want to come to every day too. So it's kind of a perk that it is a good industry to be in right now, and so many people, especially in this area, have pets and dogs and love their dogs and want to be able to spend time with them. 2 years ago is when we first created the LLC and decided to make it the Park Bar. It was just a couple months of brainstorming when it was going to be a doggy daycare and the other concept. So it was an intense 2 years, but yeah, just 2 years ago is when we really started it all. We've learned a lot more. There was a lot we didn't know just about commercial real estate, commercial building. I mean, we were building from scratch and learning that process and how it works and everything with city development and all of the licensing and permits and things like that you need to get that we had no clue about. Working with banks and lenders and that process was a lot of there's so much to learn about everything, even just learning what programs to use. It was a whole, not only were we opening a dog facility, but we're opening a doggy daycare and a park and a bar and a retail store and a rental space and an event space. So it was so much to learn, so much to cover. I know we want to expand. I don't know, depending on how things go here in the next few months or few years, we'll probably determine whether we decide if we ourselves want to open another location or if we want to franchise it out and let other people use that same space. But we definitely, ideally, would love to have more locations. We've had a lot of people ask us for a location in Fishers, over in the area where like IKEA and everything is, which would be a great location. I love Bloomington. I'd love to see it all around where people can have a membership here, and if they're visiting family or friends on the south side, they can visit the Great Escapes down there and bring their dog with them and have lots of spaces and lots of opportunities. My favorite thing is seeing people come here and talk about how much they love it and how excited they are, or they'll post on social media that this is their new favorite place, that they love coming here. People stop us. I think for me too, and I'm sure Jen would say the same, having our kids see us do this and work hard at it and build it and have that strive and work ethic to work hard for something that they believe in and something that is their dream or passion, whatever that may be.
On the other side of this timeout, we celebrate Women's History Month at a local woman-owned business, a McDonald's, where staff is family and community is a top priority. You're watching Business Equity and Opportunity. This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Time to share a success story. Valerie Silva has a long history with the Golden Arches and a special family connection as well. Her story is one that we're featuring this month as we celebrate women's history, and right now as today's success story.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities Success Story.
So I started when I was 16 in Chicago, and I worked my way up through the company. I graduated from DePaul University, and I was taking a major in accounting. And I wanted to be an accountant or a marketing director, I thought my entire life. When I got to a point in McDonald's where I was really pursuing the accounting portion of my college, a very dear friend of mine who actually is a very successful operator in Chicago, McDonald's, he said, I'm going to put you in the accounting center in Oak Brook so you can get a week of a trial basis to see how accounting really is. I was so excited for it. I went to Oak Brook. The first day before lunch, I said, this is not for me. I cannot crunch numbers. I cannot sit here. I am a people person. So I went back to him that evening. I said, John, I don't want to return tomorrow. I don't want to be an accountant. He said, oh no, you have a commitment. You make him a commitment. You have to see it through. So I had to stay the whole week. It was not for me. He said, you're a people person, and he was exactly right. He knew it before I did. So after that week was up, I just continued to work with the company, finished my degree in the general diploma that I received, and then I continued to work in the company, accelerated in the company, met my husband, got pregnant with our first child. My husband is a retired police officer in Chicago, and I just thought I don't want him to be in these dangerous areas. All I knew was McDonald's. I knew it my whole life, and I loved it. So we talked it out one evening and said, I think we should become entrepreneurs and become McDonald's owner-operator. I said, I only know McDonald's. I have my college background, my business background, but I know people. And of course, my husband, being a retired police officer, he knew people. And that's really what the formula is for success here. It's all about people. So we went to the company, shared our desires, and went through programs, and here we are today, 17, 18 years later. It's been a little bit different here in Indianapolis. We are in the metro area, so that gives us a little bit more exposure to be able to team up with schools, with churches, with community events. And a lot of our family members, they're engaged in sports with their children, so we're able to contribute to volleyball games, basketball games, from a donation level, from a food standpoint, getting Happy Meals ready to have them come pick up. So the community here has embraced us as well, but I feel like we're more in tune with the community here. Being born and raised in Chicago, the connection of being in a city is just like being home again. There are so many female company and owner-operators that I've had the enjoyment of interacting with. So on both sides, there are so many women that have helped guide me how to be a confident person, how to work with company expectations on the company side, on the operator side. And the people in the company for McDonald's, whether it be at the corporate level or the owner-operator level, the women really do embrace you. They want you to be successful. They understand the challenges that women face in today's environment. Many of us are, raising kids, helping with grandkids, have a husband and a household to take care of. So all of my interaction, honestly, has just been really wonderful. They've supported me from day one. I feel like they continue to support me, and I just feel like McDonald's gives an opportunity to the people who want to work hard and who want to see their dreams come true. I would say that she plays two roles. Not only is she one of my very best friends since I was 16, but she also happens to be my sister-in-law. So I met my husband years later. I knew his entire family. And his sister, Carmen, he has two sisters, Colin and Carmen, but Carmen has taken me under her wing from a McDonald's standpoint. We both worked for the company. We both have very similar roles in life that we took. But she's the person who I can bounce things off, and if I'm wrong, she'll tell me, I think you handled that wrong. And it takes a lot out of somebody that you love and respect and admire to actually give you that feedback. So I already know that if I'm not sure about a situation and I call her, I might not like her answer, but she's gonna give it to me straight. And she's really somebody who I confide in. She's more than a friend, she's more than a sister-in-law, she's someone that I admire. She's retired now, and I still call her for certain situations. She's just somebody who I would call my rock, and she gets me just through a lot of good and bad times, and I love her for it, and she's another great woman that has also experienced the same thing that I did. The corporate ladder, successful operator, retired, and now she's enjoying her family and her grandchildren, so I owe a lot to Carmen DeCarrier. She's been a great, great friend and sister-in-law to me, and a mentor. So every day I wake up, I really do say, how am I going to make the brand shine today? What impact am I going to have? But I have two daughters in the business now. One is going to be 20, the other one is going to be 19, who just got accepted to Purdue. And both of them are working in the restaurants at the suburban location. And the happiness and the joy that they come home with, the stories they share with me daily, I think that's what makes me feel even more invigorated, and I say I'm not done yet. Like, I probably have 10 or 20 years left in me just to see it through their eyes. I am so proud of both of them, and I keep doing this not only for myself, for my husband, but the girls. I feel like I see them. I see myself in them when I was 16, 17, and vice versa. They're just been a joy to have part of our organization, our family.
Head to the website to see all the stories that we have celebrating women's history, and tune into our Celebrating Women's History special. It's Tuesday night, 6:30 in the evening on Wish TV. If you'd like more information about any of the segments from today's show, follow the QR code. We have a new show every Sunday morning on Wish TV. We also stream it live on wishtv.com, and we post each of our 7 weekly segments, past episodes, and other resources on beoshow.com. While you're there, please sign up for our free newsletter featuring added information on our show and on more resources as well. For now, though, thank you for spending some time with us this week. Join us next Sunday for more business equity and opportunities. Tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day. May the luck of the Irish, if you will, bring you and your family opportunity and success. I'm Scott Sander. Have a great Sunday.
Business, equity, and opportunities made possible by Fifth Third Bank, Indiana Black Expo, Gemco, IndyBiz Pass, Bose McKinney & Evans, Eskenazi Health, and Lilly, a medicine company.